Welcome to Abnormal, the podcast for normal people who want to do abnormal things. Today we have our first ever returning guest onto the show, Joanna Wietrzyk. Welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a privilege to be the first ever returning guest.
The first ever, yeah. Well, I mean, for good reason as well, right? We were talking just before we started recording. I think we recorded about 3 or 4 months ago together when you were in Hong Kong before the Hong Kong comp. And I think we got you at a good time. We got you just as you were like a rising star into Hyrox. And then I
Yeah.
swear, ever since we saw you in Hong Kong, you've just absolutely taken off and been traveling all over the world and taking the world by storm. So how's it been? How's the last few months been?
Oh my goodness. I think in Hong Kong, I was saying my life is just taking off then, but little did we know that within days after that podcast, it literally just skyrocketed even more. So it was perfect timing from our behalf, but it wasn't planned at all. So yeah, the past couple months have honestly been crazy. Like, honestly, have not dreamed or even thought that anything like this would happen even 8 months ago when I started the sport. So it's pretty cool.
Surely you've quit F45 now.
I actually just did, literally just now.
Just
Yeah.
what? That's so funny. I remember because when we last spoke, it was, oh, they've given me a good break. You know, they've been really understanding. And there's no way one company will let you have that much holiday traveling around the world to do all these competitions.
Yeah, I think everyone's kind of there just knows that I'm a bit too busy for that now, but still love the members and the crew there. But yeah, my life's kind of taken a pivot for the best.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny you mention it when, as you said, when you're in Hong Kong, it was very much like we were talking to someone I mean, you'd only been doing the sport for half a year or under half a year.
Yeah.
And, you're definitely still feeling yourself out and getting race experience under the belt. We started working with JK. And then, when I was emceeing at the Hyrox event, it was so great for the podcast that you won and we were all supporting you. And it was just such a cool, like, full circle moment to see you win in such a great race in Hong Kong. But then since then, it's like, obviously I've been following your journey as has everyone. But you're just like the next race, the next race, the next race. And there's been some really good battles, right, over the last few months with some of the
Yeah.
other top athletes, and you've been doing different disciplines and all that sort of stuff. So how do you feel now? How much more comfortable do you feel now with Hyrox than you did 4 months ago when we spoke?
Yeah, I'm honestly so much more confident than I was back then. I was still kind of getting used to the sport, and like what you said, I just jumped on with JK as a coach. So just started my Hyrox training then. So fast forward another 4 months from then, I've obviously got another, 16 weeks under my belt of solid training, obviously for the sport rather than netball or tennis that I
Mm.
was doing before. So yeah, I feel so much more confident. And even just a week ago when I was in Glasgow racing the last major for the season, even looking at the times, like comparing it from my first major to the last major, it's so surreal to see how much of a difference and how much of an improvement I've done over that little period of time. And I'm still growing into the sport and myself and everything like that. So, like what I keep on saying to everyone, it's just the beginning of, yeah, a long, long journey.
Yeah, I mean, you were already clocking in some crazy times when you first came into the sport, and now to think that you've had that level of improvement, and you're at the top, right? You're at the top of the game. You and a few of the other girls are like the athletes, and you're still having those chunks of improvement. It's scary. It's
Yeah.
scary for the rest of the sport, and I'm sure there's some girls looking at your progress over the year, heading into the World Championships in Chicago. Probably you're now maybe favorite. You and Lauren maybe are like sort of nip and tuck between you two. How's that feel having that again unofficial title? I'm giving it to you, but I'm sure a lot of people will be looking at the results and thinking, yeah, we backed Joanna here. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's honestly crazy, and thank you for that little backing there. It's pretty cool to essentially be at the top of the sport. And again, only 8 months into the sport in my first season ever, to be, the one that's favorite or, one of two, one of three is pretty cool. And it's great to have Lauren there next to me to push me to go even further because, like what I did last week, I never thought I'd achieve a time like that ever. And to think that, like what you said, I'm still progressing and shaving down that time. So, yeah, after so many races now is so, so cool. And again, like next season and the season after, it'll be so cool to see what a solid year of training will essentially deliver in terms of my times.
Yeah, it's scary. And you're non-stop, right? Your Instagram content, I swear you're always training. Like even when you're on the plane, I swear you're getting some steps in up and down the aisle.
I
You're bringing your own food on the plane, Joe. Like that's you are next level discipline. So how's the blocks of training been for you? It just seems like untouchable to us mere mortals what you're doing, but how's the training been?
No, the training's been really good, but I just want to touch that I'm that annoying person on the plane that is getting up, walking the aisles, up and back, and people are just like, "Who is this freak? Just sit down." But I have to move. Like I hate being still, so I mean that
You
kind
just got
of
to show them your winners banners and be like, "This is who
yeah.
the fuck I am." This is
Yeah.
why I'm doing it.
Well, like on the way back from like Vegas, Amsterdam, Hong Kong, I had the big check. So like if people looked at me weird, I just show them the check. So
Did you ask for an upgrade? And you're like, yeah, I can pay for it now.
yeah. Yeah, all the flight attendants were like, "What is that?" Like you had to, it didn't go through the security lanes. They actually physically had to like move them around and like check that it was okay, but it's just a big old check. So
So the check is not just a gimmick. That is the check that you have to cash in.
oh no, no. That's just a novelty.
It's just a novelty, but you still choose to carry it around.
Yeah, some people at the airport don't think it is, and I think like it's kind of dangerous to for me, this young
Yeah,
girl just trying
true,
to
true. No bodyguards yet.
yet, yet.
Well,
The way
maybe
we're
next year we'll reach that level of fame.
going. Yeah. Maybe after this podcast, honestly.
Hey, the last one, your trajectory after the last podcast was pretty damn good. So I
Yeah.
don't want to say it's abnormal's fault, but you never know. All these little
Yeah.
things add up.
Exactly. So I'm be counting my blessings after this one. I think it might go another step up. So
Well, I hope you still follow me on Instagram after your next level of fame, after you reach your next level. So the last few months, you've hit a few records again. Can you just explain to the listeners which records you've just broken and the last few races that you've had?
wow. So the last 6 weeks, I've done three Hyroxes and all doing different events. So I started off this last little stint in Brisbane and did mixed doubles there with Hunter McIntyre, which was a crazy experience in itself. We were like 20 seconds off the world record. So
Wow,
we really want to redeem ourselves and go again. But it was a great course, very busy. So that's obviously,
that's where you
every
lost the
course
time. Do you
is gonna
think?
be, yeah, every course is going to be different. And, there was a little hiccups in the race where we'd just giggle and stuff. So if we took it like full
Yeah.
seriously, we could have gotten it. Like
Wow.
there was a moment in the race where Hunter picked up the 16-kilo dumbbells. And I was like, Hunter, we're the 24s. So like even little things like that, like we could have, shaved a little bit of time here and there. And I did broken wall balls at the end, but
I saw.
if we split the wall balls, we would have shaved time there. So
Do
again,
you
it's
think
just
that? Do you think that's the case? You would have been quicker if you split them,
yeah, 100%. Like you
just
look
because
at
your
the
reps would have been quicker, or
yeah, yeah. And
right?
like if you have a fast transition and then you just do like your cadence is up with
Mm,
your reps, then I feel like that would even shave, 20 odd seconds, which essentially was the
wow,
record. But I mean, I was proud of myself to do unbroken after the
that's
race at the
insane. I mean, even just to do that on any weight, but after like coming so close to breaking a world record, if I was Hunter, I'd be like, crack on, Joe. You do this. You finish strong.
end.
What
No,
was
he
that
was
experience like then? With I want to talk on your other records as well that you've hit over the last few months, but Hunter McIntyre has been the guy. He's been the guy in Hyrox for years now, whether that's performance based or just personality based, right? He's the guy that everyone knows to do with Hyrox. He's the first one that really broke onto the scene as an individual athlete. How did that connection happen? How did you kind of get linked up with him?
Well, obviously, he's an Elite 15 athlete too. We actually met a few weeks prior in Vegas, and he said he was coming down under to Australia to race in Brisbane and everything like that. And I was already going to be up there. So it kind of just naturally, yeah, formed that he was racing the singles and the mixed doubles is on day 2. So we were like, why not? Yeah,
So it's
it's
kind of
such a
it's all through you guys having these personal relationships. It's not like an agent or someone coming in being like, hey, you guys could break a world record, you do it together. It's all just these personal conversations.
Yeah, and like we have mutual connections with like our managers as well. So they've obviously helped with that, but we were already talking in the first place. So it's pretty cool to like even myself racing with other Elite 15 athletes and everything, you form connections like that through the sport and then essentially do such great things in your own races. Obviously, we're all individual races, but when you team up, you can do some pretty cool things as well.
Oh, it's crazy. When I see the times coming through on Instagram, it's just like I swear every race something gets broken in Hyrox, depending on how quick the race is. But you guys just are pushing these crazy, crazy boundaries, and it's so cool to get these. I'd see them as like almost brand collaborations, like Joanna and
Yeah.
Hunter brand collab, and they're like, oh yeah, this is an obvious combo that's going to do well, but it's so cool that it's actually happening.
Yeah.
And so with with Hunter then, how was it? What was he like to race with on the day? Is there anything about him that was different to sort of how you prepare, or how was it? Just how was he around the race course?
Yeah, he was really like one really, really cool to race with. That was an epic race. We both really pushed the limit there, but he's very different to the way that we approach a race. Like I'm very, in the zone, just in my own like human like by myself, and he's very much like chatty and everything like that. I'd be drinking water and he'd be drinking like a Coke before the race, and I'm like it's two completely different approaches, and even like our preparation and everything like that, the way we warm up is different, but like coming together as a team, we were so in sync, which is so funny because we're two completely different personalities. And it just made the race like our paces were really, really good. The way we ran was so on par with each other. So I think at the start he did think I could keep up with him. So I had to prove him wrong in that race that I could keep up with his paces and everything like that. So he was really, really impressed by the end of it, which was cool.
I mean, I'm not surprised whenever I see you running, Joe. I'm just like, God, I'm shit. Like, like because I see you running and I'm like, oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Like, it looks pretty chilled. And then I see your splits. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like that's me sprinting. So it's good that Hunter kind of realized that as well. And was there
Yeah.
any part of it? Was he was obviously like fully pushing as well. There was no let up or anything. It was really you two going balls to the wall and trying to get a good time.
Yeah, yeah, we were both hoofing around the course and it was really busy. So like he was like taking the line and I'd like come in behind him. And yeah, like mostly you look at those records in a terms of a mixed doubles and the male does majority of the race. The
Yeah.
females don't really touch the weights or really do anything but keep up with the running. But what I got a lot of support after the race saying that I contributed quite like majority of the race as well. Like you look at the rower and I was doing majority of the rower and
Wow.
obviously like, I did the wall balls by myself. Hunter and I split 50-50 with the sleds and everything like that. So like it's pretty cool to show that I actually contributed to the race. It's not just a running
Oh,
race for
for
me.
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And I agree though. A lot of people would assume that because it
Yeah.
is the male weights, right?
Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
it's all pro women's, but
Pro
that's
women's, which is
yeah.
the same as men's open.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So that, yeah, I'm sorry, in my head that's the one because me and my wife did a mix together, but not
Mm,
pro. So we did mix, so it was men's open weights.
yeah.
Um, but I think a lot of people saying that they probably just the way you train and do stuff anyway, like you're shifting those weights like every day. You know,
Yeah.
obviously you're going to contribute. It's not like you know, me and my wife or someone and their partners going where maybe it is the guy who shifts the heavier bits because that's the bit they're better at, and the women maybe do the wall balls or the row or something like that. So yeah, don't listen to them, Joe. You know, obviously you're the one shifting the tin. And then after Hunter, who was next? What was the next race?
So straight from Brisbane, I went to London to prep for Glasgow. So that was really only a
And
week
fell in
ago.
love with London.
Yeah, I fell in love with London. It was so beautiful there. Oh my gosh, I have to go back ASAP. It was so, so nice. I only spent a week there, but the gyms were so good. The food was amazing. It was quite expensive. That's the only
It's
bad thing.
expensive, yeah.
And the parks there were so beautiful. And it was so funny because I was only there for a week, but I came from summer in Australia and everyone was saying in London that I brought summer over to there because that 1 week only, it was like 21 degrees every day,
Wow.
sunny, so beautiful, like not a cloud in the sky. And everyone was like, just don't
Just
like hang
stay.
up on,
Stay.
yeah. Literally, but don't hang up on it too much because London is never like this on like a period
Joe,
of like,
when I
that
saw
time.
you post on Instagram how much you love London and the UK, I was thinking, poor Joe. Poor Joe. Like I love the UK as well. Like obviously I grew up there, my family there. When all your photos of London were so beautiful, and I'm tempted to be like, you know what? You should go back in January. It's fucking miserable. You know, everything is grey. Like everything is grey, but
Mm.
it looked stunning. It can be one of the best places in the world, and I'm happy that. And that was your first experience of it, right?
Yeah, yeah, first experience of the UK, so
Hey,
it was
you are
pretty
the
good.
luckiest person in the world. You had the best first experience ever.
Yeah, I think it was good voodoo for Glasgow as well, because the whole plan was London's probably nicer than Glasgow, so let's go to London. And London just decided to treat me for that 1 week so I could prep well for my race.
That's good. So when you go on these trips, then I'm trying to think of like admin and operational side. Do you just like reach out and DM gyms or hotels? Like, what's the sort of package there? Because what you're there for is elite competition. So normally when people do that, you want your home comforts, you want your own bed, your own pillow, your own nutrition. How are you sort of going about all these variables whilst you're on the road for so long?
Yeah, well, it obviously depends on the country and like obviously the foreign kind of exchange there. So mostly we would reach out to a gym or they would already know us and, happily put us up to training there, which honestly is so, so great because like a gym when you're prepping for a competition needs to be,
Yeah,
in slick condition. You need to have all the ergs, the proper weights, everything like that. It needs to be open and functional. And I mean, London, there was so many to choose from. It was honestly amazing. So yeah, it depends obviously on the country, but normally gyms we would reach out to, they already know us. I like have hundreds of messages of people saying, when you come to Singapore, when you come to Amsterdam, when you come here, happily train at my gym.
oh,
So
that's
that's
nice.
also great. In terms of hotels, I always look for an apartment. So, having your own kitchen so I can cook myself and everything. So I try and keep my routine as similar as home as possible. I
Do you
mean,
just
you can't
Airbnb it? Do you just look on Airbnb?
yeah, Airbnb or sometimes there's some like good hotels that actually have apartments there.
Okay.
Um, Sadly, I can't bring my whole pillow and doona and everything over, but yeah, having an apartment is great. And I always look to have an apartment with a gym as well, just in case if like, I need a treadmill or something that night when I fly in to shake out my legs. It's really good and handy to have that. Or if you're in a country that's, miserable and rainy, instead of, going out for your
Yeah.
run, just quickly running on the treadmill or walking on the treadmill to like move the legs over. So I always look at that. And then, yeah, in terms of food and everything, I do all my research before I head over, the closest supermarket and all that. So everything's like on point. And
Wow.
yeah, it's a little bit of administration, but, when you get over there, you want to be as relaxed as possible. You don't want to be stressing about where's this, where's that, where can I train, who do I like reach out to? So yeah.
Oh, for sure. That's such good admin. and it's not the most fun thing to do either. But is it just
Yeah.
you doing that, Joe, or do you have like a team with you or a coach that helps now, even just to
Um,
prepare before you fly?
Yeah, so obviously I've got JK always beside me, so he will look at the same thing. So obviously gyms, places to stay, areas as well. We actually made the decision together to go to London beforehand. A lot of people
Okay.
didn't. So that was kind of the thing that we did together. And he has friends based in London too, so that made it so seamless as well. So he got recommendations and then
Hmm.
just shared it with me, and then we all kind of coordinated that way. And then, yeah, so normally I have like him beside me and kind of share that load. And then I also have a manager that, if I need anything, she's got contacts all around the world. So if need be, she's also got my back too.
Yeah, that helps. And I think the more you grow, the more the sport grows. I'd imagine you'll grow your team out, and maybe you have your a manager that travels with you, or all this sort of stuff. You get your hotel partnerships and all that, because it's a very unique sport, right? It's like the races you need to be at are all around the world, and
Yeah.
it's not cheap also to fly, to get hotels, to do the food, all that sort of stuff. So I think more and more as the sport grows in popularity and you stay and remain at the top of it, there will probably be a need for having your team or getting the sponsors on board to do all that. And maybe Hyrox themselves will sort it out. You never know. They seem to be doing partnerships with quite a few different companies at the moment. So maybe you'll profit from that as well.
Yeah, look, I would love to have a like airline sponsor because flying from Australia to everywhere in the world is so expensive and also so time consuming as well. So if any airlines want to hit me up, that would be great. But
That is the
no,
one, right?
like
That's the one you want.
yeah, absolutely. But James and I always like joke about what our like ideal sponsor would be. And like we say like or tuna or rice or yogurt because we just have so much of
That's
it.
the cheap stuff. You can buy that stuff. Like get an airline sponsor.
Yeah, I think airline would be the top of it and then, tuna and rice and can be down the bottom. But
You can buy that stuff.
But yeah, it's so cool to like see the way the sport and like ourselves as athletes are progressing because, more and more brands are reaching out to help support us, which is so cool. And again, being 22, like it's so hard to navigate it all by myself as well. So having, financial assistant and like even just support in terms of, connections and everything like that is so, so handy when I'm traveling the world by myself. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Surround yourself with people that you trust, Joe, and you'll be sweet. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're in Glasgow now. Which races will we be doing in Glasgow?
So just the Elite 15 major. So it was the last major of the season. And so wild to think that, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, I was doing my first major in Amsterdam. So to have a full circle and just finish on the last one there was pretty cool. So
And this was a
yeah,
race of the ages, right?
yeah,
This was
yeah,
one for the history books.
yeah, it really was. And even just like coming to Glasgow, on the Monday, we raced on the Wednesday. We got given the course map, and just looking at the course, if you have like seen it on just like paper, it looked like the worst thing ever. Did not look like a Hyrox course. I honestly said like to the race directors, you need a map to like orienteer yourself around
Wow.
here because it was just so like the running was on one side, the stations were on the other side. Like it was just a whole thing. So initially just even coming over, we are like, oh, this is going to be a very interesting race. Like one to remember, definitely. And I mean, the times that we produced was really one to remember. So that was pretty cool as well.
So did it end up being okay, like the navigation of it?
Yeah, yeah. So we every day or every race, we on the day of, we have a walkthrough, like a live walkthrough with the race team and all the athletes. So we actually physically got to,
Mm,
run around and kind of orienteer ourselves before the race goes, because we're not allowed on course, minutes before the race. So it was good to kind of see it live rather than on paper, because on paper I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get lost. It was just
yeah.
a whole thing. But it actually turned out to be a great course, and I honestly loved it because the running felt really fast, and coming into the stations, like it just felt so good. And like, look, I don't know if that was the structure of the course, if it was the crowd, if it was just a whole thing. So
Mm.
yeah.
And so, okay, for those of you that don't know, let's talk about what actually happened. It was kind of a two horse race, right? You and Lauren were out in front and were setting some records alight, and then you came home in second place, right, in the Glasgow one,
Yeah.
behind Lauren, but you still broke the world record.
Yeah, so the previous world record, I believe, was just over 58 minutes. It was like 58 minutes and 2 seconds, which was previously held by Lauren. And then, honestly, inside the race, I did not know we were pushing times like this. Like, it just felt like another, maybe sub-hour race, but
Mm.
not to the capacity that we raced at. But we were running hard. Like, we were running our own race essentially from the gates out. It was just me and Lauren neck and neck, her first, me first, just going back and forth up until the lunges, really. So it was just like, yeah, a bit of a dog race between who's going to get that first place, and, who's going to cut someone off and everything like that. So, yeah, we ended up getting a sub 67 minutes and hitting,
57.
yeah, so ended up hitting, I hit 56, 46 or something like that. It was, or 48. So we both broke the world record by like a minute and a half.
It's
And then
insane.
Lauren got around 20 seconds faster than me in the end. So it's pretty crazy to think that, the previous world record was insane, 58 minutes, and
Mm.
then we hit the 56-minute mark. So, the goal now is to get sub 60, 56 and go one better. But yeah, it was really, really cool.
When I saw it, I was amazed. I wasn't surprised. I was amazed. I think a lot of people watching you, Joe, would see that coming. And Lauren, obviously, Lauren won the race.
Yeah.
You guys are just like, you seem to be in a league of your own at the moment. What's your relationship like with Lauren?
Really, really good. So I obviously crossed the line just shy of her, and the first thing she said to me was, "I'm so proud of you. You're going to beat me
Oh,
so many times in my career." So
what a
like even
legend.
yeah, even just like her saying that, and like in Hong Kong, like wind back to then when I bet her, the first thing she said to me when she came second to me was, "I'm so proud of you. You are so amazing." So like
Wow.
those like comments she say to me really stick with me, because honestly, she's such a genuine human, and it means so much for, someone so high in the sport and so accomplished and experienced to say that to me. So it really gives me a good motivator and everything like that. But yeah, we have a really good relationship with each other. Like, we message, obviously when we race and we see each other in person, it's so great. We actually flew to Houston together, the next day, the next morning. So like even little things like that, we're really, really close, which is really cool.
I've never spoken to her. I'd love to get her on the podcast, but she seems just like such a lovely woman. So,
Yeah.
as you say, so genuine. She's always smiling, always nice, always like the first one to give the hugs when everyone crosses the finish line.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, I mean, that must mean a lot coming from her to know that you're the future of the sport, Joe. It's coming from her.
Yeah.
She's achieved so much already, and for her to say that stuff to you, it's yeah, I can imagine it goes a long way. But also now you feel like you want to do it justice and
Yeah.
respect her by beating her, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like obviously like I have so much respect for her and everything like that, but out like on the course, obviously it's anyone's game and everyone wants to win. So like we both know that out on the course, we're not really friends, and it's
For
not like
sure.
we're, shoving each other out the way and everything like that. It's a respectful race, but on the course we're there racing for ourselves and we both want to win. And then as soon as we finish the race and cross the finish line, we can hug and talk and everything like that. So we know that in the race that hour is just for us, and then after we can be
Yeah.
friends and everything like that. So yeah,
How much does because when we spoke to you last time and when I spoke to JK after, JK speaks a lot about tactics in race and quite openly now actually. How much planning of tactics do you actually put into races?
Yeah, so James and I have a really good relationship that we are very open with our communication and everything like that. And he's been a great mentor for me to essentially help plan races now and, kind of test the barriers in these last few majors because obviously my first major I was kind of just going out and seeing where I'd lie
Mm.
in, the pool of the 15. And then now obviously getting my world's qualification spot so early, I can test each race as it comes and see where I can push the line or where I can hold back a little bit more and everything like that. So, yeah, the plan for the Glasgow race was quite like thorough. Like we kind of sat down and, really looked at the different stations and where I can push it and everything like that. And I think the race couldn't have gone any better. Like, one, it was such a fun race because it was so competitive.
Yeah.
I was leading and then Lauren was leading. But then, two, like in terms of my splits and how I wanted to run the race, it was so perfectly, planned and how I wanted it to go. So, yeah.
I mean, the fact that you broke the world record by that much
Mm.
and still came second, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
like obviously after the race you're probably a bit gutted you came second, but then you see the time and you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. So talk us through those like conflict of emotions because you've done something that no one else in history has done before, but it just so happens that in that race,
Yeah.
one other person did that a little bit better. How
Yeah.
was it when you crossed the finish line?
Yeah, it was obviously the first thing I knew was coming second. So I didn't see my time or anything for minutes after the race. Probably like a good 5 or 6 minutes till someone actually told
Oh
me.
wow, that's a
Yeah,
long
so
time.
yeah, I had no clue. I obviously heard that Lauren got the world record through like the MC and everything like that, but I had no clue where I sat. So like it was kind of just like, oh, I came second, but knew that I ran such a good race. So it was a little bit conflicting of emotions. You always want to win, and I knew I had it in me to win that race as well because it was literally up until the lunges I was coming second. So like it was a little bit, bittersweet, but also I was so proud of myself to race such a good race and kind of, you know, show the strategy that I wanted to put out and do it so well. And then, a couple minutes later, when the other girls started finishing and we kind of saw what the times were, I was just, I honestly didn't know what to do. I was like, wow, that is insane. Like, are you sure you got those times right? I looked at my watch as well and I stopped it late, but like, even stopping it when I did, I was like, holy crap. Like, I broke the world record. I got literally like 56 something like seconds. Um, and I was, yeah, honestly, like that made my night just knowing that. And,
Yeah, that's cool.
to know that I have that in me and then, produce that on a different race or anything like that. Like I know I can always go better. So it's pretty cool.
Do you get anything extra from Hyrox when you break a world record? I know you get prize money for winning these majors, but do you get anything for breaking a world record?
No, but they really should put something in there because
Well,
the
I
amount
think they
of
should as well.
people. Yeah, so no, we don't get anything from Hyrox. I know, like, obviously, depending on who has what sponsors in deals, we do
Right,
get
okay.
bonuses for breaking world records and, coming first and stuff like that. So, like, sponsorships, yeah, we do get something a little bit extra. And again, it depends on the person and the brand and everything like
Hmm.
that. But Hyrox itself don't do anything like that. But that's definitely something that we should raise to them.
I think so because in the Olympics, they do stuff like this. There's one guy I forgot is he Swedish or Ukrainian? He's a high jumper or a pole vaulter, sorry, and he's so far above and beyond the rest of the field. But
Yeah.
because he has a clause in one of his contracts. Again, it might be with a sponsor though, so that's why I'm not sure. Every time he breaks the world record, he gets like a 50K or 100K payout. And
Yeah.
so in competition now, he just sets the bar 1 centimeter above his own world record every time because he's
Yeah.
like, well, I'm not going to break it by 7 centimeters because that's six opportunities that I'll miss then at other competitions. So I'll do it at 1 centimeter more, get my 50K. Next competition, 1 centimeter more, get my 50K. So maybe there should be something like that in Hyrox.
That is so smart. Honestly, if I could beat it by 1 second each time and just
Yeah.
get like 50 to 100K, I'd be set
Harder
for the
to
rest of
judge, harder to judge over the
the
course of a High Rocks
Yeah,
race. But
yeah, literally.
if you can do that, then you'll be you'll be the smartest person in the world. I think that's some
Yeah.
insane pacing that you have there, Joe.
Well, now it's going to go live, so people are going to
True, true.
know.
And so you mentioned there, before we get onto the big doubles one, which I obviously want to talk about, you mentioned there a bit about the commercial side. I'm obviously not going to ask you any numbers, but how's that been your rise through the ranks here? Has the commercial stuff and the brand deals kind of come with it, and is everything going well that side, and you're able to kind of make more of a living by being a full-time Hyrox athlete?
Yeah, which is honestly, I say this is insane whenever I speak this to anyone that to become like a full-time athlete now is crazy. Like 8 months ago, I was, working a normal job and playing netball and all that sort of thing. So it's crazy to think that now I've completely pivoted and my job is to train and to compete and, get these results. So, yeah, it's been really, really good with this kind of rise. And I mean, after Hong Kong, it kind of escalated even more. Getting sponsors and brands reaching out and financial payment and everything like that and support through, people putting me up for accommodation and brands and stuff like that. So that's been really, really handy to essentially, allow me to achieve these results because if I was working a full-time job, I know 100% I wouldn't be able to train the way I do, eat the way I do, and
Yeah.
then perform the way I do. So it's been really good. And again, just the start of my journey. So it just keeps on escalating there. But it's pretty cool to say that I'm essentially, a full-time Hyrox athlete and achieving these things. So yeah.
Fuck yeah, Joe. That's the dream. Well done. I'm happy. I'm happy to hear it's going well. So I'm not going to press for details or anything, but you deserve it, and a lot of the other athletes do as well. So I'm happy to hear things are going well. Okay, so after Glasgow, you had a very famous collaboration. I'm going to call it again. Now you're all
Yeah.
team LSKD, and there's a gang of you. It's a bit of a cult following the old LSKD crew. I swear you're all always training together, but I absolutely love it, and I'm desperate to be a part of it. You guys are all so cool, and I'm trying to get as many of you on the podcast as possible. So you partnered up with
Yeah.
Tia-Claire Toomey, one of the most famous female athletes ever, not just
Yeah.
in Hyrox, or definitely not in Hyrox. She obviously made her fame in CrossFit. Was it 7-time world's fittest woman? 7-time?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Insane.
And is the big name now coming across to Hyrox to give it a go from CrossFit. And you competed in a doubles with her.
Yeah, which is so surreal and so crazy. When I kind of told people before we announced it, they were like, "Holy crap, Joe! Like, do you understand how big this is? Like, that's insane." And I honestly did not know how big it was until, we announced it and all this,
Yeah.
exposure and media and everything kind of, went around it and I received it as well because I've essentially not grown up in, the CrossFit space or anything like that. I was a tennis player. So that's kind of, and being in Australia, you look at footy and basketball and stuff. You don't, or footy as in AFL,
Yeah,
you don't,
yeah, yeah.
you don't look at, CrossFit unless you're in the sport. So I actually didn't know how big it was until, seeing her following and receiving all that attention as well. But that was, yeah, it was a great race. And I mean, it was one to remember as well.
Another world record, right? Was it?
Yes, it was. So basically,
You're
straight
so
after,
humble, Joe. Stop being so humble. You're on a podcast, for Christ's sake. Tell us the truth. Tell us how you really feel.
well, yes, we did get the world record. I was
There
waiting
we
for you to
go.
say that. But yeah, no, literally the day after Glasgow, I didn't sleep that night. So came home from the arena about 11:30 p.m. and I had to be up 3:30 to go to the airport for a 6 a.m. flight. So I just didn't sleep. By the time I ate, showered, I couldn't wind down because of what I just did. I was like, oh, I'm just not going to sleep. So I went straight to the airport. Funnily enough, Lauren was on the exact same journey as me. So we did the whole thing together and then flew like 14 hours to Houston. Yeah, so that was a little bit of yeah, straight after a race is not ideal. And I would never recommend that for your recovery.
Are you taking any sleeping pills there on the flight to knock yourself out, or are you el
No,
natural?
I was knocked out by the time I got on the flight just because I hadn't slept in,
Fair enough. Yeah.
over 24 hours, and then all the adrenaline from the race and stuff started like going down, and then I was just out. So I think of the 14-hour journey, I probably slept for 12. So it was the best sleep I've had in ages.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, and I was quite lucky that when I got on the plane, I had the whole road to myself, so I could
I
just spread the
saw,
legs.
I saw,
It's so
yeah.
good.
That
Felt
is
like
an
I was flying.
absolute touch on a flight.
Yeah.
There's not many better
Oh,
feelings than having a whole row to yourself.
so good, honestly. I couldn't have like picked a better time for that to happen. So, yeah, got to Houston late Thursday afternoon and we were racing on Saturday midday. So, had like a day and a half to kind of recover or shake out the legs, just get human. And kind of that time zone was also 6 or 7 hours behind Glasgow. So again, had to shift between
Yeah.
that as well. But yeah, landed, had a day to, just kind of be normal, and then raced on the Saturday, and Tia flew in on the Friday just from Nashville, so it was only like a 2 hour flight or so. So yeah, it was a crazy few days, and then I had to make sure I was ready for that race as
Yeah.
well
Yeah. You don't want to
because
fuck that one up.
no, no, and like Lauren essentially was doing the same thing. So we were versing our biggest competitors in the race was Lauren Weeks and Lauren Griffith. So I wanted to win because I just came second. So
For
I didn't want to
sure.
come second twice in one week. And the world record was really not on the cards for us. We were not aiming for a time like that. But when we kind of got to, I believe it was like the Farmers Carry, the second half of the race, and people said, like our supporters and JK and stuff were saying, you're on track for the record, like go hard here. We were like, okay, well, why give it up now? And we were coming first by quite a little bit there. So we knew, if we kept on pushing, we could get that first place. But what better way to then get the world record on top of that? So yeah.
And how did that come about with you and Tia? Was that through LSKD or did you have mutual connections there? How did that partnership come about?
So I believe I actually can't remember, but it wasn't through LSKD. I think it was when James started coaching for Proven, so
Okay.
Tia's brand. And then James is my coach. So naturally I was with him on a journey, and then yeah, Tia reached out to me and James and kind of came up with the idea. The initial like plan was just to train together and like champion and champion train together. So that would be pretty cool, especially because she's like coming into the Hyrox space. It would be a great collaboration. And then the elite doubles got announced for the Hyrox World, and we were like, what better way to essentially team up and try and qualify for the elite doubles and then race in Chicago and World Championships with that as well. So, I mean, it was a picture perfect story. So that's essentially what we did. That was the goal in Houston, just to qualify. So essentially place first, second, or third,
Right.
and then get our spot for Chicago. But yeah, we got
Well,
the
you did
world
that.
record. Yeah, exactly.
So
So we
let's just
ticked off,
qualify for the world records. Let's just qualify for the world champs. Hang on, why don't we just smash the world record and show the world what's on the horizon?
which is pretty cool as well because like we've done about 2 or 3 sessions together, talked for 2 hours strategy, maybe like all up. And that was the first race we've ever done together or
Wow.
anything like that. So
Shows you what's
to
possible.
exactly like to produce something so special out of, no like not like we didn't have a relationship, but like not a long
Yeah,
relationship.
not a long, deep standing one.
Yeah,
You're
like
just
what
both incredible athletes who have come together, and shock when two athletes come together, two world class athletes come together, they produce record breaking times.
exactly. And like, because I'm really tall and, a runner background and she's shorter and strength background, our strengths and weaknesses just complemented each other so perfectly.
Mm,
Like, my running is my strength, so I kind of pull us on the run. And, my ergs, the rower and the ski, are my stronger suits. Just because I'm taller, I can pull faster
yeah.
paces. And then like the sled push is my strength, but the sled pull's her strength. She's better
Oh,
at the burpees
perfect.
than me. So it's like it was just so complimentary the way that we planned the race and kind of teamed up.
Who's better at
So
wall
like
balls though?
We both love them. So we actually split it half and half. So I didn't get to do my 100 warbles,
You're
but
so
it's fine.
weird. I can't believe you just said I love warbles.
It's my favorite station, I
It's
reckon now,
crazy. I mean, hats
which
off to you, Joe. It's very impressive.
I think if I wasn't getting the reps, like the 100 reps unbroken, I don't think I'd say that's my favorite one. So I think now it's my favorite one. But yeah, the other stations, now that I'm more equipped and experienced at them, they're kind of going up in the ranks as well. So
And what's she like as a person, as a colleague, as an athlete? What's she like? What's it been like?
she's amazing. Like her mindset, her determination, everything is just next level. Like you think I'm disciplined, like like next level as well. Like she is insane. And even her from a more experienced path from a professional like perspective has given me so many tips, and she's a great mentor for me as well because she's achieved everything in her sport and her discipline. So she's kind of like teaching me her ways and,
Yeah.
mindset strategies and everything. I know they're different sports, but, in terms of preparation for a competition, it can be very similar. So, like, even little things like that, she's given me so many tips, even on my stations, like burpees and everything. She's given me so much like knowledge, which is great. And it's so cool to see that she's, so open and willing to give that to me as well because she sees like what Lauren is like sees I'm the future of the sport as well. So she's just doing everything in her capacity to help me get there as well. So she is amazing. So, so cool. A great mum as well. So it's pretty like motivating to see what she's accomplished and what she's doing now and how she holds herself now. So yeah, it was a really great experience.
Yeah, such a cool person for you to learn from.
Yeah.
And for everything that she's achieved, I know it's not in Hyrox yet. I mean, she's already achieved a lot in Hyrox, but for everything she's done across CrossFit and the fitness, health and fitness world, business world, she's an animal. She's an animal, and she's deserves to be there. Her mindset is incredible. She's so famous, like incredibly famous. There's
Yeah.
no doubt that having people like her in Hyrox is going to be amazing for the sport, for the sponsors, for the other athletes there running alongside her. Wink, wink,
Yeah.
nudge, nudge. Keep doing races with Tia, and you'll get more money, Joe. I think. Um, but it's going to be great for the sport, right? Having people like her. Have you
Yeah.
have you been to her ranch? I always see her post like her content on her like training facility and stuff.
Yeah, so just before I did Brisbane, I actually went up to Sunshine Coast, which is about an hour north from Brisbane. That was a part of my little 6-week journey stint. And I trained twice at her, like, yeah, it's like a shed in her at her farm. Oh my gosh, it is the best setup ever. Like it's
Really?
so cool. She's got like 6 of every ergs, all the plates, all the racks, literally everything you could dream of in your own personal gym.
Oh,
She's got it.
so good.
So it was great. Like even just training alongside her, and then JK was there. There was a lot of CrossFitters there as well, like Maddie and Jay Crouch, Ricky Gerard, like stuff like that. It was just such an elite environment to be training in, and to be a part of that, I was just kind of like gobsmacked. It was so cool.
That's epic. And I think for you, the more time you can spend around people like that, it's the better. I know you're
Yeah.
running your own race, you're doing your own thing, you're in your own bubble,
Mm.
but you're also so young. You're 22 still,
Yeah.
and these people have achieved so much in their respective fields. You're just gonna like pick up little habits, and as you said, with Tia sharing her little tips and tricks, Lauren sharing her tips and tricks, like by the time you're 24, you're going to be like Thanos. You're going to have all the Infinity Stones in one hand, and you're going to be unbeaten. Just click the fingers at the start of every race, and everyone else falls down. It's going to be scary to see, I think, Joe. And
Yeah, it's cool.
so now you're in Oz. You've got how long at home have you got? You've just done a 6-week road trip from hell, not hell, but you know what I mean. It's been intense. How long are you at home for now? How much time do you have?
So about 6 weeks as well. So
Okay.
6 weeks at home and then heading over back to USA to prep for Worlds. So I'm taking no chances and going over there as early as possible just to basically call myself a local and
Mm.
acclimatise there, just so I'm in the best condition possible for World Championships.
How early are you going?
So I'll go all of May, maybe a little bit earlier at like the end of April, but yeah, essentially 5 weeks before World
Wow.
Championships, I'll be basing myself in Nashville, and then start of June we'll go over to Chicago, which will be like a week or 10 days out from the race. So it'll be like a 6 week block in America before I even race in
Wow,
Chicago.
that's going to be awesome. And Nashville, any reason for Nashville? Is that where you said Tia's place was? Are you doing training there
Yeah.
or
Yeah, so Tia's proven headquarters gym is there. So
is that where you're going to be
essentially,
doing your training?
yeah, yeah. So James and I will both be basing ourselves over there with Tia and the team. And then there's a heap of CrossFit athletes, world champion CrossFit athletes that will be prepping for their season ahead as well.
Right.
So again, it'll be just this elite environment of, people from different disciplines, but just essentially want to achieve such great things and push limits there. So it'll be great to base myself there in the lead up for Worlds, and also just, you know, absorb more knowledge and wealth from Tia and James and everything like that, being in their bubble so close for that period of time. So, yeah, it'll definitely produce the best preparation possible for
That's
Worlds.
going to be epic. It's what a cool experience just to be in the US for that amount of time and
Yeah.
again around these experienced heads that can share with you all their tips and tricks and you can just lock into an epic training block. Um,
Yeah.
World Champs in Chicago, how many races are you actually going to be doing when you're in Chicago?
So day one is the elite race, so the elite singles race.
Singles,
So
okay.
yeah, so that night it's always going to be, the women's singles and the men's singles on that opening day. And then day two, I believe it's all the age group singles. So won't race day two, that'll be my little rest day. And then day three is the elite doubles at night. So that's where Tia and I will race. Hopefully break our own world record. That would be pretty cool. And then day four will be country relays. So James and I will be in there with, we don't know what the rest of the team will look like, but racing for Australia in that relay, which will be pretty cool as well, because I reckon we could definitely come with a solid team this year. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you guys have got a good chance. Who else is in
yeah.
that team?
We don't know yet. We're going
Okay.
to discuss that with the Hyrox team as well. So yeah.
And so you and Hunter are not competing in the World Champs?
No, we obviously, because I'm doing the elite doubles, and I believe that Hunter is looking to qualify for the elite doubles as well.
Okay.
And then you got your country relay on top of it. It's just way too much on the schedule. I believe that I wouldn't be able to push. I know that singles is first, so that one's all out the way. That's my main priority. So it's great that that's on the first day, but I wouldn't be able to push, the times,
Mm,
doing a doubles and a relay. So yeah, we won't be racing in Worlds together, but we'll definitely be doing something in the next season
awesome.
to hopefully claim that world record.
Oh God, I can't wait. I can't wait. There was a part of me, and this is my claim to fame. Here you are, Joe. I'm going to talk for the next
Here we
couple of
go.
minutes. Um, so I did qualify for Chicago
Oh,
in when I was 29 years old. So last season, I did a race, my first ever pro race in Taiwan. And
oh yeah.
funny story, this is when I realized that the age group below 30 is the one to be in if you want to rank. Because I came 12th overall or something crazy like that. Like not high at all. It was really for me a race just to get through it and say that I've ticked a box and done a pro race. And I was fucked after. Like I was dying. And so I just I was by myself on this trip. Obviously, I had some friends there and things, but I was walking out the arena, going to the hotel, ready to basically crack on with some pints with some friends in Taipei. And I started getting these texts. They're like, "Wait, where are you? Where are you? Come back! You won!" And I was like, "Fuck up! No, I didn't win. Like I saw the race. I was present in the race. I
Yeah.
definitely didn't win." And because I was the third wave, so I was the last wave of this whole thing.
Oh,
So I didn't really see anyone else that I was competing with because it was my
yeah.
first one. So they put me in the last wave. It was my first one, sorry. And then I know you won your age group, and I was like, oh, I completely forgot that they did age groups in Hyrox.
Yeah.
And so I checked the thing, and I hadn't come third, hadn't come second. I'd won the 25 to 29-year-olds age group in this men's pro. And I was like, I came back obviously to get the photo on the podium,
You got to
but
get your flag.
I was almost embarrassed. I was almost embarrassed because on Instagram, I've got the number one flag and it looks like I've won. But I feel like I can't claim that I won. And then I qualified for Chicago in the World Champs through that performance. And I was like, sorry, but I'm talking to guys and girls like Joanna and JK, and they're preparing for Chicago. I should be in Chicago preparing for a World Championship race.
You can do
But
that age group.
I could. I decided against it because I think it's a huge trip for me, considering everything that I'm trying to do here with work and things. And yeah, I just didn't think that I almost deserved to be there. So that was a big no for me. But I would have loved to have been there just to watch you guys and hopefully see some world records get broken. I'm sure there's a scenario where you win 3 races and break 3 world records. There's
That would be
that's one
amazing.
scenario, you know, in a
Yeah.
few months' time. We could be, and if that happens, Joe, I'm gonna get you on for a 3rd episode. I'm not gonna lie. If you're not too famous by then, you know, if you're hanging out with Tia too much, then you might not even respond to my Instagrams anymore. But
No, never. But I mean, every time we've done, oh, I mean, we've done it once, but after this one, I mean, there's something special brewing. So we might have to do, I might have to be the first repeat guest. So
the old three-peat with
yeah.
Joanna. And hey, I love the fact that you're thinking that this is the good luck charm. You know, that bodes really well for the podcast. So thank you for putting that one out there. All right, Joe. Well, I know in the last podcast we spoke a lot about your training program, running, gym, all that sort of stuff. So I'm not going to ask you questions about that now because I wanted to cover off what you've covered in the last few months. So anyone listening, go back to the old episode with Joanna. She goes into a lot of detail about how crazy her running schedule is and how an easy run for her is 15 fucking kilometers, which actually made me, after the day after our previous episode, or the week after, I was listening to the podcast again, and I was on like a 5K run or something, and you were like, "Oh yeah, so I just did like a half marathon, easy pace, 4:45." I'm like, "Oh fuck you, Joe." Yeah, like, but it's a great episode. It's a great episode, and you share some really, really great insights. So if you do want to find out any more about Joanna's training, go listen to that first episode. Joe, thank you so much for coming on again. It's always great chatting to you. I'm so excited for your next few months. I'm so excited to follow your content as well. Like your content's been really cool, and I love seeing you travel around the world with a smile on your face and just killing it in the gym. So keep inspiring, keep posting because you're inspiring us as well to get better. And yeah, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. No, it's really, really cool you hearing all that. And yeah, it'll be exciting to see when I come on next what else I can achieve in this time. So yeah, thank you so much.
3 big checks, 3 big medals, and 3 world records. There we
Yeah,
go.
that would be great.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.